That means it is time for Daniel in the Deacon's Den. Good morning, Deacon Dan Brahier.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Ron. Happy New Year again.
Thank you.
Happy New Year to you. And I know that you are busy with many things. You wear many hats. But I also know that you've been very busy with an online course that you've been involved in the last several weeks. I'd love to hear about that.
Yes, I have. So I think it's kind of typical of any New Year's resolution where you try to, kind of commit yourself to doing things differently. Although you guys had a good joke about that, like the high resolution television.
Yeah, right.
But
there you go.
I did read someplace where I think it's something like only 8 to 10% of people actually stick with a New Year's resolution, and something like 75% stop doing what they resolve to do within the first month. So the sticking with it is not easy. But this,
I have to say, my record on that is really good. I'm 100%. I made a resolution many years ago not to make resolutions, and I've kept to it.
There you go. There is one you can't fail on, Dave.
Yeah, right.
So when the university, of course, I'm at St. Thomas More in Bowling Green. So when the university is on break and the students are gone, our parish really shrinks down to only the year-round parishioners, and so it really gives us an opportunity to do some things that we wouldn't ordinarily have time to do when the students are there. And so, because of the uniqueness of the parish, I like to try to be able to learn some new things. And so I did. I took an online class over the break, and I actually just finished it last week. And it's a course on preparing couples for marriage. And it was a really great experience because I have been doing marriage prep at our parish since ordination 8.5 years ago. So I'm not a stranger to that, and I've been married for 40 years, almost 40 years, but we never stop learning, And so deacons have requirements for having ongoing, continuing formation hours, and we have to log those. We report them and keep track of them so that every year we're keeping up to date and we're keeping sharp on the newest and latest. And my wife is a teacher. She's in the same boat. She actually took an online course during the break as well. Her class was on using AI in the classroom, which was really interesting. So again, just kind of building on with something that's fairly new to education and give us an opportunity to learn something different. So this class that I took is through the Focus Marriage Ministries. Focus, some of our listeners might be familiar with. They created a survey long time ago, probably back 40 years ago originally, but it's been redone and revised multiple times. But it's a survey that a couple who is preparing for marriage, the bride takes the survey, the groom takes it on his own, and then the results kind of go into a computer, and there's this interesting comparison that is done in terms of the responses that they gave. It's kind of like a Myers-Briggs type of thing, but you're comparing yourself to one another. So one of the things that the report tells you is how much in agreement the bride and the groom were with one another. But then there's also another measure, which is each one of the questions on the survey has kind of like a desirable response that research shows that couples who are successful in their marriages tend to say. And so another score that you get is kind of how likely are the two of you to agree with one another and with that standard that we would want people to answer on that question. So it's not a test. It's just a survey, one point in time, to get an idea where they stand on various things. And so this training kind of walks you through not only the survey, but it kind of gives you these glimpses into, there's videos of facilitators working with couples where you kind of analyze what kind of questions they're asking the couples and how they're responding and how we might do it better. And one of the big points that they make that I think is really significant is that the point of marriage preparation is not to tell the couple how to be successful, and it's one of the presenters in the class says, I am an expert at my marriage, but I'm not an expert with yours, So the point of the marriage prep is to get them to talk to each other. Here are some of the topics that you should be discussing, And the focus is not on me asking them a question and then answering it back to me, but throwing something out and asking the two of them to talk with one another. And I think that's a good reason why priests, because sometimes we hear, well, how can a priest do marriage prep? He's not even married. Well, because our role in doing the marriage preparation is not to give them the advice, it's to lead them in a conversation. And a priest, as a single man, can certainly engage a couple in conversation like anybody can. So this is not about giving marital advice. It's really about just providing a forum for conversation. So this survey and the kind of the process here involves talking about lots of different things with the couple, like how they communicate with one another. Do they tend to, kind of freeze up? Do they talk freely? When you're upset at the other person, do you not say anything at all? Do you get angry? How do you solve problems together when something comes up? Who's the leader in terms of solving a problem that surfaces? There's a whole category on friends and interests. How do the things that I'm interested in interface with the things that my spouse is interested in? The people that I hang out with, my friends, are those people that my wife likes to hang around with too? Or are we going to have conflict with our friends? What about raising children, making financial decisions? How do we share our faith together? Do we have the same faith tradition? Do we have the same beliefs? And if we don't, how do we navigate that with one another, with our children? So there's all these different categories to try to get them discussing. And I think what to me is probably most amazing about this, and you guys can probably relate to this, it's how these discussions that you have stick over time. Like my wife and I will be married 40 years this summer. We still remember conversations we had with a priest when we did marriage preparation. Do you guys remember that?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's just like I can remember some of the specific questions we asked and some of the conversations we had. And so the idea is to make sure that no stones really go unturned. And so, we're kind of at St. Thomas More, we're kind of a unique situation because, of course, we serve primarily college students. That's what our mission is. And so in some cases, like I'm preparing 3 couples for marriage right now, and 2 of them are current students who are going to get married someplace else. But we're preparing them for marriage now so that they can then take that marriage file and go off and get married in another city, another state, whatever, because they're at the university now, but they're not getting married, at our parish. And so I may or may not actually attend all of the weddings that I'm preparing the couples for. So it's just been a really good experience for me, a good refresher, but not only a refresher because that sounds like I didn't learn anything new. Right. Actually, I learned a lot new. And despite having done this all these years, the class was just really exciting for me and kind of gave me some new energy for working with these couples.
And these are important questions, and what a great opportunity to know that they're formed, and really prepared for marriage. When you don't really know where they're getting married, you don't know what kind of preparation there would be where they live.
Well, yeah, and part of it is that, in some cases, I don't know the people. So I'm one couple that I'm preparing for marriage, I had never met before the first time they came in for marriage prep, and so, but again, it isn't a matter of how well you know them going in. It really, the question of the marriage prep is how well do they get to know one another? And have they actually had the harder discussions? Have we talked about that hobby that you have that really irritates me because I have no interest in that, and I don't know how we're going to navigate that after we're married, Or what about that financial thing where one person is really by nature a spender and the other one is by nature a saver, and what do you do about that? What do you do about the finances in your family? So those conversations are really important, but oftentimes we are preparing people for marriage that we don't really know that well. But, we're like, deacons are like no different from other professionals in the sense that we got to stay current, taking the additional classes, the workshops, the conferences we attend. We have expectations to keep ourselves current and up to date, just like anybody would in any other profession. I think in doing that, it just gives me a lot of energy as a deacon. I explore different ways to minister, and that can only make things better in my work.
Love it. And obviously anything we can bring forward that helps in the marriage preparation, given where these things have resulted in the last 40, 50 years. We'd love to see an upturn, which we're starting to see, and I'm sure a lot of that has to do with change in direction on how we're doing marriage prep. So thank you, Deacon Dan. Appreciate you very much. God bless you, brother.
You too. Thank you. Have a great week.